We're gonna tie the, I don't even know the name of it anymore. Originally it was the Zandoli worm that my buddy showed me from one of his buddies guiding in Alaska, and then we've taken it a step further with furling the tail, so now it looks like this. It's big, it's ugly, and it catches steelhead. So I'll show you the part one where we're basically furling the tail of the worm, and then I'll show you the other part. But this is the easy step if you have a rotary vise, of course. So I'm just going to tie in some small pink chenille, and I'm going to give it a couple half hitches, and I'm going to actually cut my thread because it's going to help me out. And now I'm just taking this rotary vise and I'm spinning it, and I'm spinning the chenille so that it wraps up on itself, and this creates the tail of the worm because we want that hook to be in the middle of the worm, so when the fish bites it, that hook's a little bit closer to the middle of the worm, which is how they generally eat the worm, instead of having it kind of mole style and hanging off the back where there's a little more chance of the hook not hitting right. So then I'm going to take the chenille and I'm going to just basically let it fall on itself, and I'm working it out so it's straight, so then it's just sitting back there. I'm going to just give a couple wraps right here, start my thread again. This might be the hardest part of the whole fly, is just starting your thread with it while holding that chenille, because if you let go of that chenille when it's furling, it'll basically mess up on you. So then I'm just going to do a couple more half hitches and cut it, and there's the back portion of the worm. Literally, you could fish that right now. It's a smaller worm. You could put some lead eyes in the front, cone, lead, do whatever you want. But this will fish, but these worms are even better. So now we'll do the second part. Now I've got this 3111 Daiichi. It's a straight eye. It's a cheaper hook. I wouldn't recommend cutting owners. You can use a mustad. You can use whatever is cheap and has a big eye, because you want your backing to go through here, because that's the key, because now we're basically building a stinger fly and we don't want it to come apart. So I took the backing, I stuck backing on the back worm, threaded it through, then I went through to the front eye, and from there we're just basically, the key to this is wrapping really hard. If you have Kevlar thread, it would be better. We're in Forks and it's crappy out, so we're just tying, and I didn't bring my Kevlar thread, but I'm perfectly fine with that. I gotta add lead, which is key. Okay, so we want to get this fly down a little bit. We don't want it dragging on the bottom because we want our stuff up off the bottom, but we want to add some lead. So I put some 35 thousandths lead on here. But now that we have that lead on there, we're going to switch hooks here. There isn't really a substitute that's a cheaper, faster way to tie it that works as well. So I've looked into that, believe me. Now I'm going to take some of my large chenille. This is what gets the bulk of the worm. So we're just going to tie that in. Tied in my large chenille, and then I grabbed the front hook and I start twisting it. So you'll see how this works in a couple minutes. So I twisted this way with the hook. So I'm going to come the opposite direction with my chenille. So this is where it kind of is a pain in the ass. But once you start getting good at tying them. This one's probably going to be a little bit too much chenille, but you know, chenille's cheap and time is money. Okay, so there's the body of the worm. So then we take the other, put that front hook back in the vise. Come forward, start my thread again. And that wasn't too bad a guess. I mean, that's just a little bit of chenille left over. And this head isn't too clean, but you know what? The steelhead don't really care. And there it is. There's the wormy. So we cut that front hook so that it's a legal fly, and game on.
He doesn't like that vise.
Hook's fallen out like 3 times.
Well, why don't you just tighten this part right?
I did.
If you weren't using fucking 60-pound Kevlar thread.